Hello and welcome, all friends and devotees of yoga and Buddhism. Today is Friday. Thank God it's Friday. It's Friday, June the 28th, 2019. Friday, June the 28th, 2019. So I'm just going to proceed with my investigations regarding the works of which I discovered, the wisdom resources. Fantastic. I call them the golden works of the great Venerable Master Singyung. For those of you who might not know who Master Singyung is, Master Singyung is the father of Buddhism in Africa. He's the father of the Fo Guangsheng. First of all, he established the Fo Guangsheng, which is about the largest Buddhist foundation in the world today. And his establishment, his organization, the Fo Guangsheng, took Buddhism to Africa for the first time in its history by establishing the great, very mighty African foundation in South Africa, the Nanhua Buddhist Foundation and the African Buddhist Seminary in Bronkhorstpoort, Johannesburg, South Africa, currently teaching a lot of Africans Buddhist instructions and philosophy. Also, he has established one of the most affordable universities in the United States, University of the West in Rosemead, California. I've been there. And also the Silai Foundation, which is one of the largest Buddhist foundations. I think it's the very largest in North America. I've been there. That was my parish for 3 years when I was in Los Angeles, California. Master Singyung is very prominent. And these my discoveries are always compared to the discoveries of the great British archaeologist Howard Carter, who discovered the boy king Tutankhamun. Just one day he was doing his work, his research in Egypt into ancient Egyptian kings and excavations, and one day just ran into gold. He was not expecting to run into gold, golden tomb. The preservation of the boy king Tutankhamun was preserved in gold, pure gold. And this was discovered by the great British archaeologist Howard Carter. So you can imagine when I ran into this body of wisdom, it was as fantastic, as wonderful, as thrilling, as exciting as that. I wasn't expecting it. One day I just ran into a treasure of gold, pure wisdom, fantastic wisdom. I'm still wondering what to do with it. I can only compare it to what Confucius must have run into 2,000 years ago. Confucius ran into something similar in China. He ran into this fantastic, wonderful, ancient Chinese tradition, 4,000-year-old Yi Ching. It must be noted, Yi Ching was already thousands of years old when Confucius ran into it. Confucius then really sat on it and worked on it and developed and advanced it almost to the state it is now. And 64 hexagrams, and currently, of course, computer programmers have taken it to the level of apps. I have dozens of Yi Ching apps on my smartphone here, which I consult every day for guidance and advice. Yi Ching is first class in wisdom, fantastic. So is my discovery of these nearly 400. There are about 380 masterpieces of wisdom from the Venerable Master Singyung, most honorable. I read you a clip of the work so that you can taste and see that wisdom is wonderful. Wisdom is wonderful, okay? So just taste and see that wisdom is wonderful. Let me read you a clip and you figure this out. Friends are precious because they guide each other towards goodness and lead one another away from error. Admonition is the best medicine that cures self and others. Good advice is the remedy that benefits one another. We often need the mentoring and guidance of friends. But besides the kind advice and wise words of others, we also need to appreciate the meaning of life through our daily experiences, disciplining and elevating ourselves to a higher level. Though our own appreciation is ultimately the best maxim to perfect our life, here are four of life's maxims to consider. One, I call these four the golden keys, the golden resources from the great Venerable Master Singyung. I always compare to the Dalai Lama. Himself and the Dalai Lama, they are the greatest Buddhas that I really knew in my lifetime. So Master Singyung has this fantastic tradition of putting sort of breaking his wisdom teachings into 4 groups, like the 4 legs of a table. When a table stands on 4 legs, it's always very solid and stands very balanced. So Master Singyun has this fantastic balanced idea of breaking wisdom into 4 groups: 1, 2, 3, 4. I call them the golden keys. So here, have your pen and paper ready and try to do some writing here. 1. Impermanence is life's warning. Supreme success and fame in one's life are but a dream. Unsurpassed nobility and fortune cannot escape the law of impermanence. Impermanence is the reality of life. Birth, old age, sickness, and death are all manifestations of impermanence. Because of impermanence, time will pass, and people and situations will keep on changing. Highlight that word, changing. Therefore, we must remind ourselves to be on guard when making use of time. Highlight these things: time, opportunities, and life. Time, opportunities, and life. Highlight them quickly. For we can never afford to slack off. When we are able to understand the truth of the arising and ceasing of conditions through impermanence, we will certainly act more diligent in life. 2. Dedication brings merit in dealing with matters. When dolphins perform their best, the audience applauds. When we give our best effort in whatever we do, we will have no guilt or regret during self-reflection. In our daily life, we should do our best as long as it benefits and does not harm humanity. In addition to giving our best effort, we also need to do as much good as we possibly can. When we dedicate ourselves fully to what we should do, we gain merit, and whether or not we actually succeed in our effort will not be the most important thing. 3. Composure provides focus in facing danger. People panic easily when faced with danger. When we become nervous and scared, chaos reigns. Highlight that, chaos reigns. Therefore, in facing emergencies, we must first calm ourselves. Highlight that again, calm ourselves down. Highlight that, just keep highlighting the key points here. By being cool-headed and steady, we will be able to take appropriate action to save ourselves and others. The late philosopher Fang Dongmei almost drowned swimming one time. After he calmed himself down and stopped struggling with his attachment to life, he managed instead to survive the perilous incident. Confucianism teaches, be calm so you can focus. Be calm so you can focus. Concentrate. When you are focused, you can think clearly. Highlight these things if you can. You can think clearly. In thinking clearly, you can gain peace. Highlight. You can gain peace. In thinking clearly, you can gain peace. Therefore, use composure to stay focused when facing danger. 4. Compassion is the foundation for practicing charity. Compassion is refined love. It is the selfless contribution without the expectation of a reward. When we give a compassionate heart, we will have no ulterior motives or greed, but base our intent solely on benefiting humanity. When there is compassion, the world is bright and full of hope. If we treat other living beings with compassion, then even trees, plants, and flowers will naturally repay us with lushness and beautiful blossoms. Insects and birds will thank us with melodious chirping and song. Wherever compassion goes, everything will respond positively. Using compassion to benefit people and support all beings is fundamental to being human. Now, 2 words I need you to remember. Jesus Christ is always remembered as what? Love. That is the summary of all the teachings of Christ. Love, okay? You can call him God of love. Why? How do we know this? Because Jesus Christ always taught, he said the summary of his teachings is love your neighbors as you love yourselves. Whosoever loves his neighbor as he loves himself has fulfilled the law. These are the words of Christ. So Christ is love. It's always remembered as love, period. Now, synonymous here. The Buddha is always remembered as compassion. Compassion. You see the similarities? Jesus is love, Buddha is compassion. The Buddha is always remembered as compassion, which is very similar to love because the Buddha always taught human beings, right? His teachings summarize again as compassion. Folks, be compassionate to all sentient beings. The Buddha used to stress that. Be compassionate to all sentient beings. This is the summary of the teachings of the Buddha. Be compassionate to all humans. Be compassionate to all animals. They all feel suffering the same way. Have compassion towards all human beings and all animals. The Buddha calls them all sentient beings. Okay? So always remember Jesus is love, Buddha is compassion. Now go ahead to summarize. So in summary, Master Singyung writes, rivers need the right channel to flow into the ocean. Our lives require maxims to bring us to the right path. Folks, it's wisdom. We can't overemphasize it. Namo Amitofo.